Hi, my name's Rosana Cabán. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm a producer, sound artist, and audio engineer based out of Brooklyn. So educating, making music, and I work on some podcasts. I do some podcast editing, and I also produce other musicians. The way that I've survived as a creative and as a musician is by saying yes to a lot of different things so that I can continue to work in a field that I really love. I started making music because my dad was a musician, so there were always instruments around. He was a wedding musician and he played at church in Puerto Rico. There were just a lot of instruments around, and the last thing he wanted to do after playing weddings and church gigs was play salsa, so it was always synthesizers and electronic music at home instead of maybe what I would have grown up with if he was a different kind of person. Gwen Stefani, when I was growing up, was like the coolest person, and the music that she made was amazing, with no doubt. And I just wanted to try to look at, I guess, the different kinds of outlets that might be there for me that I hadn't seen before. So when I saw her performing or when I saw their music videos, I was like, oh my gosh, that's a woman doing something that looks kind of subversive, like she looks angry and it's okay. Probably the biggest, most seminal experience was touring. That was like a dream I had for so long. Getting to do it with Starfucker was the best experience possible, I think. When you think about touring as a woman and you think about touring like on a bus with a bunch of men, you probably have a bunch of fears that might pop up, or at least I did, and I couldn't have imagined being surrounded by like kinder men. There's actually this book called The Queer Art of Failure, and it's just talking about like not queer necessarily as like gender or sexuality, but queer as in like different, and how you can take all these other paths that maybe for like very rigid thinking people is like, that's a failure. Like for some people, you know, me not being married or me not having children is a failure, but for me it's like, that's actually like, you know, I'm very happy with the decisions I've made to do the things I really love doing. So I think my work and I think all of these things are influenced by just me trying to just lean into being, I guess, a little bit of an outlier. Even as a drummer, when I went to Berklee College of Music, and as like, you know, a freshman drummer, I was afraid to even play drums loud. Like I used like brushes because I couldn't use sticks because I was like so timid to take up space. It was something I was really afraid of. People like Mindy Abovitz and the way that she talks about drumming totally inspired me to just be as loud as possible and to make as much noise as I possibly can and disrupt those spaces intentionally. Surround yourself with people that you think are better than you at your instrument, at engineering, at production, whatever it is, because you'll be able to absorb so much information, so many new things, versus feeling like you need to know everything or feeling like you need to be the most competent person in the room. You will struggle to grow and you'll struggle to find new ways of doing things if you're not really challenging yourself through the community you surround yourself with. Really think about the energy you put out and the energy that you're asking for in return. So what I mean is, if you're constantly asking people to come to your shows or casting a net for things, just make sure that you give back as much as you're asking.